YouTube, I know it's been a minute. Welcome. My name is DK, and in this video, we're going to break down the two-game DFS slate on Tuesday. Tuesday, we got a big day of sports. We got, obviously, Pacers, Knicks, and Timberwolves, Nuggets, Game 5. And then we have the start of the WNBA season. Very, very excited to play some WNBA DFS. Probably not going to get a video up there for WNBA DFS. I might cook up a prop thread if you guys are interested out on Twitter. But yeah, so over the last week or so, it's been a solid week for me for DFS. I've had some close calls to some wins. Also had a very nice day today with the prop market. If you guys saw me on Twitter, gave out a nice edge there. I was pretty confident Donovan Mitchell's not going to play. And we had a lot of people win big. So here, let me just show you guys a few of the big winners. I hit all my straight bets, came close on a Levert SGP, just needed a few more assists. But a few big wins. $10 into 300. Which one? $10 into 900. On a nice SGP there. Few other big ones. $5 into 328. But yeah, I gave it a few tips. Levert alt points that hit early in the third. He did get a little bit banged up. Just missed my SGP. I had Levert over 14.5 all points, Levert over 4+ rebounds, and then Levert 6+ assist. Just came a little bit short there with the assist, but yeah, I was tweeting it out like 3 hours before that I was pretty sure that Donovan Mitchell was not going to play because we usually get his tweet like 3 hours before game time. And kind of reading the tea leaves for the beat writers, they did not think he was going to play. And I basically bet all the Cavs props, PRAs. They all hit. So very nice edge there. Yeah. So before we get in this video, let's quickly talk about the sponsor. That'd be BetMGM. Guys, BetMGM is currently still running great offer here. You get $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win on your first bet. So make sure to check them out. If you do sign up for BetMGM using my code and deposit, it does really help support the channel. So greatly appreciate that. And if you're looking for more content, as always, you can check out my Patreon link down below. Got some big winners for DFS, again, over the last week. I'm hoping we can continue that success here. And let's just get right into it. So we'll start off with the Pacers and the Knicks. So for the Pacers, they're once again listing Halliburton on the injury report, but he's going to play. He's been questionable the last few games. But Halliburton has really turned it on over the last 3 games. Couple really big games. Last game was on pace for a solid game as well, but it was just a massive blowout. No fourth quarter minutes for any of the main guys. So you got Halliburton 8-7, Siakam at 7-5. Right now, I think I slightly prefer Halliburton to Siakam, but the price has dipped on Siakam. He's just kind of taken a backseat recently. You know, Siakam had a couple big games early in the playoffs, but then it's kind of cooled off. Siakam's still in play, but I think Halliburton looks a little bit better even for a bit more. And then Miles Turner at 6-6. So he was also on pace for a pretty good game, shot 5 for 5 in that game, but again, it was a blowout. I had been playing him for a bit. I finally faded him this game, and he smashed. It's just so typical. DFS is so frustrating, but I like the ceiling there on Miles Turner as a GP play. I don't think he's going to be that popular. Also, there's pretty high opportunity cost at the center position on this 2-game slate. You got Jokic. You got Hartenstein, we'll talk about in a bit. So kind of makes the other centers a bit tougher to get to. Connell's been playing extremely well in the series. Of course, the one time that I bought in, he had 12 fantasy points. Other than that, he's been smashing, though. He continues to play like low 20s minutes of the bench, continues to smash, and he's actually playing well defensively, too. So even at 5-1, McConnell is going to be a pretty popular play tomorrow. And then you got Naismith and Nembhard, 2 of the better defenders on the team. Naismith's on pace for big game last game. Again, blowout. Nembhard was solid as well. I think I prefer Naismith to Nembhard of those 2 more defensive-minded players. A couple of the guys to mention, you got Obi Toppin at 4.2. He continued to play around 20 minutes. Been playing really well outside of like 1 game so far in the playoffs. So another, I think, pretty safe value play. Ben Shepherd is 3-3. You know, he's going to be in the rotation. The issue is just not a great point per minute player. But props, he's 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range. The last guy to mention is Isaiah Jackson. He's been getting the backup 5 run. Good point per minute. Probably not going to see more than like 13 to 15 minutes unless Miles Turner gets in foul trouble. But he's been consistently in the rotation, so definitely viable at close to mid price. Now for the Knicks, they are my favorite team to target, and it's not close. We have to have short-term memory when we play DFS. I stacked the Knicks last slate. Obviously didn't work out, but I was just never going to win in a slate like that. Like the Knicks were clear optimal plays going into that slate, and they just got random massive blowout. So again, don't factor that in too much. Let's take a look at that Knicks rotation, though, from last game. So Again, OG, no OG. So they started same starters: Hartenstein, Hart, Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Precious Achua. You saw Miles McBride put a little bit off the bench, a few minutes of Jericho Sims, and Alec Burks basically played the entire second quarter. Burks has shot well last couple games. I don't know if those minutes will continue to be there for Burks. Also, you did see Miles McBride start over Precious Achua there in the second half. Something to note. Okay, so looking at players in the price points, you got Brunson at 9.5. The only issue I have with Brunson is I don't think he's 100%. He clearly is looking a little bit banged up, but the guy with the highest ceiling on this team and in competitive games should play 40-plus minutes. Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, I think are two of the more optimal plays on the slate. Again, you have to have short-term memory with Josh Hart. Outlier, bad game last time out. Dante DiVincenzo at 7K. Didn't have the best game either. Couldn't really hit many shots, but those two look like great options at 7.8 and 7K respectively. And then Isaiah Hartenstein looks really good too. Again, outlier, bad game, 22 minutes. Should play, high 30s minutes, I would say, if this game stays competitive. So, Hartenstein, Hart, and DiVincenzo look like great options. They should be very popular tomorrow. Achua at 4-3. Keep an eye on the starting lineup. If he can start, I think he's a solid value. But if they do start McBride over him, I think McBride has a much higher ceiling. He played a lot, kind of closing that garbage time, right? So, don't get, he actually played the entire second half, Miles McBride. But yeah, I think there's a chance he could start over Achua. If he does, he's going to look a lot better. And then we got to mention Alec Burks. Back-to-back games, he shot well, and Alec Burks can do that, right? He can put the ball in the bucket. So 3.9K, he is firmly in play there for value. Okay, let's talk about Minnesota and Denver. So let me bring up the rotation there. Last game for the T-Wolves. So same starters, and then you saw a few minutes of slow-mo, and then NAW and Naz Reid are the guys that played a good amount off the bench. So basically 7-man rotation and 6 minutes there for Kyle Anderson. Okay, so top end, you got Anthony Edwards, 9.2. Like the ceiling on him quite a bit. Played 45 minutes last game. Expect similar run from him in a competitive game. So really like the ceiling there on Ant. You got Karl-Anthony Towns, 6.9K. Didn't have the best game. Now, if he avoids foul trouble, he does have ceiling. He played 38 minutes last time out. So, yeah, definitely like the upside in here at Cat if you can avoid foul trouble. The downside is, again, he is the primary defender there on Jokic. Gobert's been a little bit quiet so far in the series, but I think he's reasonable at 6.3K. Should continue to play mid-30s minutes or so. Mike Conley at 5.7 continues to play his low to mid-30s minutes, continues to get you 25 to 35 fantasy points. In my opinion, a very safe play. Naz Reid is 4.5, a guy with a pretty high ceiling. He's getting it going, should play, low 20s minutes. I think he's a reasonable value. McDaniels, if he avoids foul trouble, should play big minutes. He avoided foul trouble last time. He played 38 minutes, but previous 2 games he was in foul trouble and saw limited minutes. That is the one concern with McDaniels. If you think McDaniels does get in foul trouble, NAW would be a guy that would benefit. He's been a little bit quiet over the last 4 games. Had one big game there. Other than that, it's been single-digit fantasy points. And then, last guy, I think we'll see some rotation minutes will be slow-mo, but he only played 6 minutes, so not something I'm really confident in. Denver. So Nikola Jokic, I think, looks great at 11-3. Played 39 minutes. I expect him to play around 40 minutes or so. I think he looks like your top spend-up on the slate. Jamal Murray at 7.6. Back-to-back solid games for him. Decent shooting games as well. Reasonable price point. I think the 2 main nuggets look really good here. I slightly prefer Jokic to Murray, but if you can't afford Jokic, want to settle on Jamal Murray, I think that's totally fine. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon. I think I still slightly prefer MPJ to Gordon, but you did see the big game from Aaron Gordon. MPJ didn't do much last game. Gordon had a massive game. Now, he shot 11 of 12, so I would say that's a bit of an outlier shooting performance there from Aaron Gordon. Now, ownership will play a role here. Like, for example, Aaron Gordon's going to be a lot more popular than MPJ. I think you got to lean MPJ. So I'm very curious to see what the field does with these 2 forwards here for Denver. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon. After one game, we've kind of seen the field overreact a lot to one game, so I'm curious to see how they play it after that big outlier Aaron Gordon game. And then you got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at 4.4. Been a little bit quiet, but should play mid-30s minutes or so, maybe more. Reasonable value. I don't think he's going to be that popular. And then off the bench for Denver, so Reggie Jackson played 9 minutes. Justin Holiday played 19, and Christian Brown played 25. Christian Brown closed, too, in that most recent game for Denver. So I think Brown and Holiday are the guys we'll look to. 18 and 25 minutes of the last couple games for Brown. Holiday 3.2, 22, 19, and 19 minutes. So I think these two are actually decent punt plays at close to min price. But yeah, we haven't seen Peyton Watson in the rotation, so don't think he'll see rotation minutes unless game turns massive blowout. Yeah, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. As always, if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.